Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be showing off how to do this build in front of us. Now what this build is it's a build for something that we can use on either a retriever data type build or an atlas build. So for now we're just going to be showing it off in an atlas mission. And what this basically is it's sort of like a stun lock CC kind of damage hybrid kind of build. Now this build is really good for something like public matches, for where not everybody's doing jail kind of builds, as this is kind of a sort of a mixed bag of the two. So it uses sort of aspects of both CC and damage and mixes it into one. Now if you want to do this build, it does require a 3x3 area, and you can spread out with the extra floors to be able to use things like the slow and snare ability of the actual constructors. So this is using the base without any traps on it, and what you're going to see is that the Husks aim is to go up towards the top because they want to break in through the top structures to be able to jump in through the top. So then we're going to see another video here. Now this one is now using that idea that they're going to be walking up the top and putting wall launchers on it. Now you can just get away with this if you want because it just recycles them, but what we're going to be doing is obviously we're going to be turning this into a full kind of damage build that we can decide to use in a public game. So this is going to be a guide on how to do the pyramid build for either the Atlas missions or the Retriever Data missions. Now if this is an Atlas mission, what we're going to be doing is creating this kind of circle of half floors around the actual Atlas, and if it's a Retriever Data, what we're going to be doing is placing the walls directly on the side of the objective. However, since it's an Atlas mission, we can't put walls around this side of the Atlas. Now, since the rest of the build is going to be exactly the same, regardless of whether it's a Retriever Data or an Atlas, we're just going to continue with the rest of the build, which is to build these pyramids. So what we're going to go around and do afterwards is build these pyramids around the objective, which is the 1x1, and then we're going to edit it into this lower triangle and build around the whole objective, like so. And you should end up with something that looks like this. So we've got all these triangles and these pyramids. Next, what we need to do is edit them up into a pyramid, or you can tear them up first and then edit them up into a pyramid, whichever way you prefer. You can edit you can tear up walls through structures by having a wall edit out like this and then clicking tear up, and you'll be able to tear up structures through the actual the other structures. Now if we just put this all in a pyramid like so. Once this has been put into a pyramid, what we're then going to do is add 4 walls on top. We don't actually put the flat on top, whether it's a Retriever Data or the Atlas, we leave it open. And what we're going to do is just put these 4 walls around. Now these 4 walls can have whatever trap you prefer. You can choose to have a wall launcher, a wall light, or a sound wall. It can be any of those 3. However, the best 2 to use are going to be the wall lights and the wall launchers. Once you've put these walls up the top here, we're then going to be able to put these floors up above around the sides. Now if you have got a terrain, say for something like this, where it would actually connect up to the sides and there'd be a path on top, all you'd have to do is for that area is just make it 1 higher, like so. As this will be where we'll just be putting like our ceiling drop traps onto. So for this instance we'll just leave it like that. Then what we need to do now is just tear everything up, and yeah. Once everything has been tiered up, it should end up looking a little like this. Now if we go underneath and just see, all we have is each of these triangles will be in the corners, and these corner pieces also help to deter the Husks from wanting to beat on the sides, since there's more things obstructing their pathway to the objective. So they'll try and come around to the side panels to then try and also get up there to be beating on the top wall. But if we just look underneath, we'll see this is what it looks like. There'll be corner triangles in each corner, and then half walls and the ramps on each side. Now though, what we're going to be doing is we have to trap the actual objective. So what we're going to be doing now is adding on the traps. We'll be putting freeze traps on each of the sides of the ramps. This is going to be freezing them. Then we're going to be putting the ceiling drop traps up above. Now mine are just double reload and all durability, but what you'd want to be using on these are things like crit based rolls, because then you can critical on the impact, which will mean you'll get more impact out of the tyres, since this is sort of more of a CC build which is focused on impacting the enemies quite a lot as well. Lastly, we have the walls. Now for the walls we have a choice. You could use wall lights, which could go on these windows, or you can use wall launchers. Excuse me, Husks, what are you doing? Go away! Go away! Stop it! I'm doing a video! That's right. So what we're going to be adding onto these sidewalls are either wall launchers, or we can use wall lights. So wall lights can also go on things like, can go on the windows if you want to put windows and have like wall lights. And these will be stunning them, and the wall launchers will be knocking back. So this is what the build should end up looking like. It should be wall launchers on the walls, freeze traps on the ramps, and ceiling drop traps up above. And then this side as well, you have to match it to the terrain. This side's the same, but with just wall lights instead of wall launchers. If you did want to change anything though, something you do have to make sure is that you don't put a floor in here. If you put a floor in here, it's going to be kind of ruining the build, and they'll be breaking more on the sides, because there'll be less resistance to going through the sides and below, rather than trying to come up to get into the top to beat through this wall and drop down into the objective. Once all the traps have been placed down below, we're going to come up the top, plunk our base down, and then place the anti-airs. So up here is where we can put 4 anti-airs, and this will just help versus the lobbers. Now if we look up the top, you'll see that when we have a castle kind of structure, you can actually shoot, and the bullets will be able to go straight through these areas in between the actual structures. So you can see, here's my cursor, you can see there, happily shoot through. So you can, means you can just shoot through the gaps. It means you've got an easy shot down at both of these sides, so you can shoot that way and shoot down there. So this is the side of the sand wall. As you can see, what's going on is the husks. You'll see they're going to be pathing up to the top to these side walls, and then they're going to be getting frozen as they're trying to go up, and then they're going to be danced and also getting staggered, stunned by tyres. On this side with the wall launcher, they'll be trying to path up the top. Again, there's a freeze trap to try and freeze them, as well as then we have the wall launcher once they get up the top to knock them back. Sort of recycling them as well. And then we also have the tyres to also stagger and do damage. Then we can come around to this side, and this is the wall lights. And again, the wall lights are another CC based trap, so they're also going to be stunning them, as well as the tyres, and the freeze are going to be freezing. As you can see, there they are, trying to get up to the top, getting frozen, getting stunned, and getting staggered by the tyres above. So once we've placed our base on top, what we're going to be able to do is counterweight these structures. So since we're using Thora and Ice King with Mega Base in support, this also means they're going to extend out 5 tiles. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to be able to create this kind of area of effect around the actual objective, where we can actually slow them down as well as cause them damage from Thora's perk. So if we put these in, we'll see that each side connects up to 3 out from the middle, and then just goes diagonally across to the other points where it's also 3 out from the middle. Something we do need to be wary of when we're using this base is, because we're going to be killing things, we will be spawning in enemies such as propanes, smashers, and mini bosses as well. So as long as you try and kill these enemies, because if they get to your base they will be doing a lot of damage to it, which we don't really want. So try and make sure you're killing these enemies and prioritizing these targets. Lobbers not so much, because you have got the anti-airs, but if you've got too many lobbers, again try and kill the lobbers. For the mini bosses, try and kill them, but if you can't, then just try and bull rush them away. Now sometimes you can do funny things like bull rush them through the actual windows where the traps are placed up the top, like through the wall lights, or you can actually put like a slow field down and sort of like catapult them on the side, because it's kind of broken at the minute. So something like this, and they go for miles. So Now, something we can do if you don't just want to use this kind of pyramid style build is we can actually add to it by adding on these kind of walls around the corners and boxing off the corners around the actual objective. Now what this is going to be doing is it gives us sort of more area, more space which we can work with to add other traps. Now it would end up looking something like this. So in this instance I've decided I wanted to have healing traps on each of the corners, and you could use something like either defenders or other anti-airs in this kind of space. However, it also opens us up this kind of channel in the middle where the freeze traps are, where they're going to be funneled into, where we can put something like broadsides on those inside walls. So it gives us extra space where we can sort of put some extra stun or extra damage in this sort of center space right in the middle here. So for example, here we go, and we can put these wall traps here, which obviously we'll use this instance as the broadsides. This also helps guide the Husks in even more, although it's not entirely necessary to do. It does cost a little bit more this version. However, it does also mean that since you're going to be on a nice surface up here, it makes it really easy to just be able to jump up on the top. So there's always that benefit. And then yeah, you can also put traps on here, so you could even use things like defenders or even anti-airs or anything else that you might wish to be putting on these panels up the top here. Also, what you can do is, instead of leaving this open, you can choose to close it in completely and add on these corner pieces. So if you add these corner pieces in, these can also be used to put things like ceiling electric fields in. So you can put these in each corner so that it tries to hit them when they come up the ramps, and these will be doing extra damage. And then if you want as well, you can add like things like this and kind of just really cornering the sides, and yeah, close off the build. So they look like this, and they'll all come up the ramps, get knocked out, getting sort of stunned or staggered, sort of staggered by broadsides as well, and frozen by the floor freeze. But these are kind of completely pointless because yes, they do travel across, they don't really do too much. So yeah, that's the kind of different things you can try doing with this build. I would just recommend the pyramid one if you really want it to just work really well still and be quite cost efficient. Otherwise, all in all, that's the build, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.